Hello, everybody, and welcome to the In From Japan podcast, episode 7. I'm Erroll Maas, and I forgot who I was for a second. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Jason Courtar.
Yeah, that's me.
And we're going to change the format up a little bit at this podcast, just to try something new, a little less chaotic. But we're still going to start the same way, talking about what we've been playing recently. So, I'm still playing Bloodstained. I'm on the final set of bosses. I haven't beaten them yet, but I'm hoping to soon. And I also tried the boss rush mode, which you have the items that your character has in the story mode, but you don't have the upgrades. So you don't have your health and mana starts off like pretty low. But I think the bosses are made weaker, and then you get between each boss, you get a health and mana upgrade.
Okay, so it's not completely impossible.
No, and it's split into two different halves, with like one half of the first half of bosses and then the second half, or at least, that's what I've unlocked so far.
Okay.
And the second half has been much harder than the first.
Okay. Are you still liking it?
Yeah, I just kind of want to be finished with it at this point.
How many hours
have
you put into it then?
I want to say 16, 17. Which the average is about 10, but when you're not used to Castlevania type games and it's kind of your first one, it might take a little longer.
Yeah, if you're doing a completionist run, you tend to rack up some extra hours.
I mean, I'm not trying to collect everything or get to secret bosses or anything, but leveling up, it's useful for leveling up for the final bosses, so I don't know. I've also been playing Snack World, Level 5's newest game. It's a Switch port of a 3DS game, but the 3DS version was only released in Japan.
Yeah, and you've been looking out for this one for quite some time.
Yeah, so basically and if you've seen some of the reviews, which it's been getting more reviews than I thought it would, just because Level 5's last game released here, Yokai Watch 3, well, not their last game, because they released the Catriel Layton, but the last game I played by them, Yokai Watch 3, was pretty ignored. It did get a review from a freelancer at GameSpot, but other than that, it didn't really get much attention outside of the main, fan base.
Yeah.
So yeah, Snack World has been getting decent reviews, ranging from 6 to 8, which not bad.
Yeah.
It plays kind of a little bit like a simplified Diablo.
Yeah.
Kind of like a dungeon crawling thing. You don't have any magic spells or anything, but you have different weapons called Jaras, and you switch between them for to fight enemy. You can switch between them on the fly. It'll suggest when you want to switch them when you're fighting different enemies, so it'll switch you to that weapon because it might be stronger against that enemy.
So it's pretty accessible and newcomer friendly then.
Yeah, it's pretty newcomer friendly. I didn't realize it's rated T. It's not rated E like some other level 5 stuff. And then some of the dialogue, not kid friendly.
Yeah, I guess that's why the T rating is on.
It kind of came out of nowhere. And it's kind of who is this for exactly? Because the aesthetic is super kid friendly, but there's other stuff there's a squid called the Kraken. I thought it was gonna be because all the human characters they're named after food.
Yeah.
So there's Chup, there's Melonia, Princess Melonia, and stuff like that. But then there's the Kraken, the poop squid, and then there's and not just that, but there was that character Chup, who I believe is the main character in the Snack World anime series. He was talking about when we were going to go face the first boss, and he was I'm gonna kick her ass, and then you're gonna kick her ass, and then we'll both kick her ass. And I was like, what? Whoa, what? Wait, what happened?
It's
And
it's probably because in the original Japanese text, that's how it's written, and
well, see, the thing about my argument about that is
mm-hmm.
later on in a side quest. Oh, I need to explain. Like, okay, so there are story quests and there are side quests, and side quests you get from. Well, it's weird because some of the more side questy things appear in the story quest section.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of weird how they determine which is which.
Mm.
But anyways, in one of the quests, you fight these penguins, these 6 penguin paladins, and they're penguin paladin A, B, C, D, E, and Michael. and they bring that up later because like it turns out like, oh, we didn't want to be like suspicious, we were just doing our job trying to clean the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
and they say like what their names are, and then you ask like, wait, wait, this one has a regular name, and I don't like saying this word because I know some people could be offended by it, but I'm just explaining it. Okay, so then Penguin Paladin A is like, yeah, this schmuck wanted a regular name, and I was like, whoa.
Well,
I'm like, I don't know what word from Japanese translated to that.
probably bastard or
No, because they would have just used that, I feel
it
like.
depends, because sometimes you can translate it straight, but it won't fit the context or the intensity of the scene. So
I don't know.
you'd probably add it or edit it to fit the circumstances more. Yeah, but I think it's probably the original text that's this crude, for better or worse. Because if you watch anime that looks to be aimed at children, they'll still swear and still have suggestive situations. So
That's true.
it's probably a lot more normal or passable in Japan than here. Or
But
West.
like, level 5 doesn't usually localize stuff that way, I feel like.
They probably want to be like not too bothered by it, because they've also seen how hamstrung Yokai Watch was in the West, and it's probably them thinking, you know what, let's leave it as is, and it's also a different era, and people are more accepting of Japanese standards and culture. So you don't have to westernize everything to speak to your audience that way.
Yeah.
Well, if I think we talked about it last week, or was it this week? The localization of Persona. Michael Hyam.
I don't think I think that's gonna be this
Yeah.
week, a little later when we get to the news rundown.
Yeah, Michael Hyam from GameSpot interviewed the localization manager, I think, and she mentioned how from Persona 1 to Persona 5, there's a big difference in how they approach localization. Because in Persona 1, it was pretty much westernized, and moving on from 2 up till 5, you see how much more faith they had in representing it as truthful as possible.
Yeah. I just feel bad for any kids who like any parents are like, oh, this looks kid friendly, and then that happens, and then maybe their little kid starts saying bad words, and they're like, what?
But it's still T-rated, so adults should pay attention to what they're buying for the kids.
Yeah. I don't think the Snack World anime is going to be airing on Disney XD like Yokai Watch and Inazuma 11 Aries do.
Well, they can still
if the language is kept that way.
can still edit it. Like Naruto was kind of geared towards younger kids for the
that's true.
broadcast version, but then you also have the uncut DVD version. So I think that's the way to circumvent it.
Like a
broadcast version, and then an unedited version, uncut version.
Yeah, turning the sake into elixir.
Yeah.
I remember.
Okay, so I guess I'm up. As for what I've been playing,
Oh, hold on. I didn't want to say one more thing about
go
that.
ahead.
I want to say Doraemon that aired on Disney XD, and they turned the first aid kit into a pizza.
How does that work?
I don't know.
Weird. Okay. This is what you get when you go overboard with your editing. Oh well. Okay.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah. I've actually been playing something new this week. I just started Okami on Switch. Yeah, it's pretty early on in the game. Like actually after the first few cutscenes, because the first few cutscenes are pretty lengthy, and it takes a while before you can actually play anything. So I'm exploring a bit, getting used to the controls, and I'm pretty much digging the artwork or the art style. It's pretty unique, and it's something I'm looking forward to getting into. Yeah, and that's all I've been playing this week. I've had zero time for anything else.
Dude, do the controls feel like dated at all?
A little bit, because especially the camera controls, they're for some reason inverted. So left is right,
Yeah.
right is left, up is down, down is up, and that's kind of messing me up. And I can't.
Gross.
Yeah, and I can't change that from within the game itself. I'd have to exit back to the main menu and then rearrange everything and then go back to the game. It's kind of bothersome. But it's not impossible to play. It just takes some getting used to. But yeah, no, it'll be fine.
Hopefully. I played Okami a little bit, like back in the day, and yeah, it was so slow to start. And I was just like, this isn't getting me into it.
Yeah, the opening cinematic takes about 10 minutes, I guess, something like that, because it's really long and a lengthy prologue about all the things that have happened before the game starts.
Looks great though.
Yeah, it really does.
Alright, so moving on, we have our next section, which is only sometimes. It's only when a movie relevant to like video games comes out.
Yeah.
Usually on streaming services, since we talked about the Ni no Kuni movie a few episodes back. And now we have Dragon Quest Your Story is now on Netflix, and it's based on Dragon Quest V.
Yeah. Did you?
So first,
Yeah, go ahead.
we're gonna do just initial impressions, and then we might get into like spoiler territory.
Okay.
So I haven't finished Dragon Quest V yet, but I played through most of it, and I really enjoyed it. Although the pacing was a bit weak. I understand why the pacing was the way it was, because you're turning a 100+ hour RPG into one movie.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoyed it.
Okay. I tweeted it out, I think, last week, my thoughts about the movie. I'm really impressed by the animation quality. It's maybe not what you're expecting from an anime movie, especially with an art style as distinctive as Akira Toriyama's. It looks a bit more Western than you're probably used to, but it's still really great and really fluid.
Yeah, I'm glad they went with that art style, because with Akira Toriyama art style, I feel like, especially in the West, people would just be like, "Oh, this is just Dragon Ball."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's pretty distinctive in its own right, with the CG movie, and I like how whimsical it is. It makes me think about having played the game, like you get the same feeling of enjoying something that's light and breezy and not too difficult or not too dark, or uh, it's just an enjoyable ride. Is the best way I can
Yeah,
explain it. And the story is kind of paced oddly, and it jumps from here and there, and some character interactions or motivations aren't really explained. They really cut a lot, and you're expected to pick up quickly. And I'm guessing people who have played the game will know exactly where to fill in the missing pieces. And
yeah,
and
and they switched some stuff around too.
yeah. And then there's also the ending, which we may or may not get into.
Yeah, let's not get to that quite yet. I just wanted to go over some things. So you watched the subtitle version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched the dub, and I'm guessing they probably went off of a similar or used the same script for the Netflix version. But so in I know why they removed this part. So in the DS version of Dragon Quest V, the English version, Sancho, he has a very stereotypical like Spanish or Latin accent,
Mm-hmm.
and it's written out.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I can understand why they went with a more normal voice for him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still I think it fits him well. And then in the dub, the mouth movements, of course, with this kind of animation, I feel like that would happen more than with other. With it, the mouth movements were a bit off.
Yeah, because when you're dubbing an anime or a CG movie, unless you have access to the team who edits it or does the animation to fit your English translation, you as the voice actor will have to match the mouth flaps from the original recording. So something that's very dense as a sentence, you have to shorten it probably or lengthen it depending on the context, and it's a tricky thing, and it's very much
Yeah, which I think is pretty funny because in Dragon Quest XI they did a good job of, well, I think they did digitally edit it to make it so that it matches more. Feels a little weird to have a Dragon Quest protagonist voiced because they're always silent.
Yeah, but you also have to imagine it's a 2-hour movie. Like, how can you make a 2-hour movie engaging without the main character emoting or talking to the characters around him?
Yeah, it's not like Link. Like, I think that's where Link and like Dragon Quest protagonists or other silent protagonists differ.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Link has like more of his own character than just being a self-insert, especially now with all the different iterations and stuff. Dragon Quest, it's always a different hero, but it's always supposed to be like a self-insert. It's always supposed to be like you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can do that with Link, but do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you, because it also is in the name of the subtitle of the movie, like Dragon Quest: Your Story. It's represented in that, and also hint at a certain part of the movie that we'll probably get to later.
Oh, don't get ahead of yourself.
And in terms of Link being his own character, yes and no, because to me he is pretty much defined as the hero of time and the hero of whatever, and you can still project yourself into his character, so
yeah, that's true.
that Link becomes your avatar in game. I mean, you can also rename him to your own name if you'd like.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really imagine or remember an entry into the series where Link is so distinctive that that you can say he's his own character. I just
mean like he's more of it like than the Dragon Quest main characters. I don't know how else to explain it.
I get you.
The music was great. especially the musical cues, and that's more you have to play Dragon Quest to get with certain things.
No, I get it. And the music is done by. Let me check.
Probably the usual composer, I would assume.
Is it the same composer, or did they like have someone adapt his score? Let me check real quick.
It sounded pretty similar.
Music by Koichi Sugiyama. So yeah, it's pretty much
him.
the same guy, who is kind of a bad egg. If
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that. He's not great.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it was like because there was when he went separate ways with Harry,
Mm-hmm.
they played the character party joining music,
Mm-hmm.
or I think they do when you go your separate ways. I think they play it again in the game. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But then like there were just some little things like when he went to his old house and the fireplace opened.
Yeah.
Like that was a thing. They had a little music cue there. And then I did think they used the theme maybe one too many times.
I mean, I'm fine with it because you only have so much runtime, and you kind of want to hit every beat imaginable from the main series, and people will probably be waiting with bated breath for the main theme to kick in for a heroic moment or something like that.
And then I like the. This might also be like you have to play the game. Well, no, maybe you know. So when he's fighting the first monsters he's fighting, when he's like after he's running as a young adult, he's fighting a bunch of metal slimes. And I don't know if you know, but metal slimes are you're not gonna find that many metal slimes in one place.
Okay, so it's kind of like an Easter egg.
Yeah, because metal slimes are rare enemies that sometimes they have like a certain island where they pop up, or like a certain area, and they're really hard to can be really hard to kill, as you can see in the movie, and once you defeat them, you get a ton of experience.
Yeah. So
I thought it was funny that was like the first group of enemies he was fighting as a young adult.
Yeah, it's kind of great to see the game world so well materialized, but it's such a shame that we only get to be in there for such a short time, because I think it would have really benefited the world if it was a series. Or
yeah, exactly, I was gonna bring that up. So a couple of years ago, I wrote I was assigned an article about how like why JRPGs aren't adapted into movies often. And one of my points was that they work because of how long they are. They work better as a series.
I also have
usually it depends on.
Yeah, I also have a different idea about why that is. It probably has.
That was just one of the points.
Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned this in your piece, but it's probably also due to licensing and merchandising, because when a big media project is announced or in production, you want to get as much of a return on investment as possible. And I think the greater return on investment would probably be an anime show rather than a movie, because that's probably
they are working on a Dragon Quest anime remake for an old Dragon Quest anime from like the 80s, I believe. So maybe that's why they did a movie for this one specifically.
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes tied to an anniversary when they do movies, and an anime is just so much more broader and gives you more room to breathe and tell the story.
That would have been the. Wait, so it came out. It came out last year.
The movie?
In Japan, right?
True.
and then the game originally came out in 1992. So what is that? The 20 like almost the 30th anniversary?
Yeah, or it's maybe for the Meta series a big anniversary, and because Dragon Quest V.
The 30th anniversary for the series was like a couple years ago. Yeah.
So it's probably
So I don't know.
we're just speculating at this point.
With that animation, who knows how long this has been in development?
That's true.
So I was reading the Eurogamer review, and it was saying that, have you seen the trailers for the Lupin the Third movie that has like this kind of animation style?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's the same director.
Ooh, that's promising.
Hopefully, I'm hoping we get that on Netflix too, because that looks really good. I like how they still took the style of the characters, but mixed it with this style.
Yeah, I don't think Lupin is on Netflix at this point.
No, I think there's another Lupin movie
Yeah,
on there. Yeah,
isn't Castle Cagliostro?
yeah, which I hear is very good. So
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch it. But yeah, all in all, I very let me see what else I have. The monsters looked good.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about that, the other thing was names for me. So Luca was the name of the hero. I forgot when it was confirmed, but that was the name for it. I believe Percy was just a name you could choose for the Saber Cat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just named mine Saber because that was another choice. Or you can name it I think you can name it whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you recruit different monsters, they either come with their name or you can change it.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Gertrude is an actual name that's in there.
I mean, it's a cute name.
There was also, what was the other one that I had? I had another slime named Goo something else. Something like that. But the whole thing, there wasn't a slime following him like that. It's a whole thing where you get, because you're not recruiting any people yet, you go to a town and what was it? Like you go to this guy and he teaches you how to recruit monsters, and you can recruit monsters to your party.
Yeah.
Although it's still kind of randomized, so it's a bit. And then there was a character missing, but I believe she was only in the DS version. The third choice you could marry, which is Nara's sister Deborah.
Oh yeah. I was wondering about that because the wife he has in the
Bianca.
Yeah, Bianca is different from what you can get in the game. Like you have a choice.
Well, Bianca is regarded by fans as the canon choice.
Ah, okay. I get you.
So that whole Zenithian bloodline thing, that's not I don't think that's a thing in the. I haven't gotten that far, so I don't know if your wife is just a Zenithian no matter who you marry, or if that was just a thing for the movie specifically.
Or they could have taken it from the manga or novelization, because sometimes they do that.
Also, he had 2 kids.
Yeah,
in the game.
I see that in
twins.
some artwork.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be kind of weird to have the daughter in at that point, but
I mean, there was so little runtime left by the time the son shows up. So having someone else there as well would have you wouldn't be able to spotlight the characters as much as what you have in the final product. I mean, which is not even that much because the pacing goes by so quickly.
Yeah, and the other thing was the son's name was Aulis, and I don't know if that was the name you could choose, but the name I usually see him referred to as is Perry. So I don't know what was up with that.
Perry's a weird name for an RPG character.
But so is Aulis.
But Aulis seems like a more RPG name than Perry.
I guess so. I did like how they would say the name of the spell when typical anime.
Yeah.
Well, except for when he did I think he did whoosh the first time and it looked kind of like a Rasen Shuriken. Also, I don't think Nara turned out to be the old lady in the actual. I don't think that was a thing in the game, but I can't remember. It was a long time ago since I played that part. But anyways, I really liked it. So if we can get into spoilers now, that one part was weird.
The ending?
I was gonna message you while I was watching it right when it happened and be like, "What the hell?" But then I waited. I'm glad I waited it out, because once I waited it out, I was like, "Oh, okay, I see what they were trying to do, and they could have done it better, though."
Yeah. So when I first watched it, my initial reaction was, "Ooh, that's not so good, is it?" Like, if we can spoil it, like, if anyone's listening, cover your ears. In the ending, when the hero is facing the main villain, he's supposed to be summoning the greater evil, but that's not how the plan unfolds. It's a virus that manifests itself into the game world that's been programmed by someone in the real world. Because surprise!
Because apparently this game is VR.
Yeah, everything's VR these days. Who knew?
Dragon Quest the experience.
Yeah. So in the movie, Dragon Quest is a VR experience, or it's a VR experience based on the world of Dragon Quest V, and someone programmed the virus into the game so that when you reach the end of the game, the virus will eat up your progress and kick you out of the game, because people who spend time in video games are losers, quote unquote, and basically everything you've heard in Ninja's latest rant, that's what you've been described as. But still, it's the reason why I didn't like it is because it kind of sends the message that your only meaningful interactions are in the game world, and everything outside can be disregarded. Like, on the one hand, yes, the memories and experiences you have in a game are touching, meaningful, and can have a great impact on your life, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't live your life in the real world at all.
Yeah, I don't think it was trying to say. I thought it was trying to say, like, you know, don't, like, you could, like, you could put it with any, like, you know, highly regarded video game series, like how Dragon Quest has positively affected people. I think that's what it was trying to go for, but it just didn't quite stick the landing with that.
Yeah, because then I started thinking, like, okay, if you think of it in terms of a celebration of a series of something that has been in the public consciousness, at least in Japan, for decades, then I can see what they're trying to do. But I'm kind of like, okay, there has to be some balance, because people who only pay attention to one end of the spectrum and ignore the other kind of miss the bigger picture. And I'd hate for that to be the main takeaway younger audiences take from this movie.
Yeah, and like a lot of people in Japan apparently didn't like this part either.
Yeah, I saw a post on Kotaku Australia.
That's the one that I put on here, right?
Yeah, people were pretty mixed on it. Like, some liked it, and others were like...
Yeah, Western audiences seem much more mixed.
Yeah, because...
I mean, we seem pretty mixed.
Yeah, I think people were expecting, okay, this is a movie that's based on an RPG. We're gonna get our Lord of the Rings-esque movie, and we're gonna live in this fantasy world till the end, and the good guy is gonna triumph over the bad guys. But I don't know, as I was watching the movie, and when the hero was battling the monsters, you can see them turn into pixelated dust. So even then, I was like, something.
I wasn't thinking. See, I thought it was just a cool way to make them like
a callback to the video game.
Yeah, something like that. Just I was like, that's an odd choice to have them die that way, but you know, they weren't gonna just be killed and then
The blood comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a clever way to resolve that, but it immediately set off an alarm in my head, like, they're trying something here.
I also like how the animation style, it didn't like change the monster designs, it just gave them more detail.
Yeah, because
I think that was
that's
really
a
good.
very tricky part when bringing something from 2D or sprite-based animation all the way to 3D animation. I mean, we've seen it with Pokemon, and Detective Pikachu took a different route, but you sometimes have to choose something else entirely to make it work. But in this case, I'm happy that the more traditional route ended up being such a good move.
So I had heard about I thought this was like the very end was like it was revealed to all be a thing, and then but like there's still like it's like almost the end, and then it goes back to the game world, and then it's the end. And so I'm like, okay, so they could have ended that worse. I also didn't know that the twist part would still be animated. I just, for whatever reason, I assumed it was live action, which that would have made it so much worse.
Well, it doesn't have to be, because I don't know if you remember the Lego movie, and
Oh no, I know. I just mean with the whole message and everything,
yeah,
and I just feel like it would have been a lot worse that way.
yeah,
But otherwise, I really enjoyed it.
yeah. I still enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to anyone who's
Like,
familiar with this.
I'll actually buy it on Blu-ray. You know what the funny part is about the dub cast though? And this is still spoiler territory, but when Gertrude starts talking in that one scene, he's voiced by Steve Bloom. So you hear this like
Gravely.
this like gruff voice coming out of the slime.
Yeah.
It's like really weird.
I mean,
Steve Bloom also voiced somebody else, and then Yuri Lowenthal voices Luca,
yeah.
and that's great. Stephanie Shea, I believe, voices either Bianca or Nera. I forgot who.
It's Bianca.
All right. Yeah, so you got a couple of
All stars.
Naruto characters.
Well, the best thing I can say about this movie is it has me itching to go back and play Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it made me want to play Dragon Quest, but then I'm like, wait, but it's not gonna look like that.
No, I'm fine with the way it looks. It just has me itching to get back into the series, because it's so calming and so fun to just be in it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just want to have fun when playing video games.
Yeah. Yeah, Ninja. We're not talking about that. Not on this podcast. All right. So we're gonna move on to this is our new section. So we don't run over time too much, because we can't talk about everything, and because I put this in the description anyway, if for people who actually look. We have the recommended reading, watching, and listening list, where I just go over a list of articles, like title, author, and the website it's for, and you can just check those out in the future.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but I mean, they may come out later at some point in some podcasts. Who knows? Just, I think people should read more and learn about things more, and it's just something I thought was a helpful thing to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'll just list these out, and if you want to make a comment on any of them, be my guest. Okay, so we have Bayonetta and Vanquish helped legitimize the video game cult classic by Lucas White over at Siliconera. We have Kemco's Monster Viator can be breezy, delicious JRPG comfort food, also by Lucas White at Siliconera. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is scratching my itch for Persona 5 on Switch by Ryan Meitzler?
Yeah, Meitzler.
Over at DualShockers. I'm not sure I like Snack World, but I keep playing it anyway. Not by me. It's by Mike Fahey over at Kotaku.
Yeah, Mike Fahey is...
Fahey?
Yeah.
Is that how it is? Okay. Um, Daemon X Machina is everything anime mecha fans could wish for on PC by Iane Agosa over at DualShockers.
Yeah. This looks squarely aimed at me because anime and mecha, it's kind of my joint.
And we got
Phantasy Star Online 2.
Phantasy Star Online 2 cements a new Sega era by Lucas White over at Siliconera again. We have Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions gives story mode a unique touch by Sato at Siliconera. We have If Devil May Cry 3 hadn't been a huge success, its development team would have all quit by Matthew Olson over at US Gamer. Story of Season series character designer on making the characters we know and love by Alistair Wong over at Siliconera via it was via like a fan site though.
No, translated and he then reported on it.
It was via Rant Story.
Okay.
The Dragon Quest movie's big plot twist has me messed up, me too, by Aaron Greenbaum over at Twinfinite. We have Why Aren't We Seeing Movie Adaptations of JRPGs by me, I mentioned it previously, over at GameSkinny. And then we have for recommended watching, we have the Animal Crossing New Horizons Direct, which we'll talk about more later.
Yeah.
I forgot we didn't decide if we were going to take these news stories out or not.
I mean,
I guess we could talk about them.
In brief, yeah.
Okay, so next is the news rundown, and I'll put like some kind of news music here. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at like news music from Japan, and like a bunch of recent stuff was good, but I was like, I don't want to get like copyright struck. And then I found that one from the 70s, and I'm like, well, they're not using it. And it sounds like it reminds me of like Japanese Spider-Man, like that time, because it's that era of music.
Yeah.
First article on our news rundown. The NPD results, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was the best-selling game of January 2020 in the United States.
And
which,
this, ladies and gentlemen, is why they keep making Dragon Ball Z games.
I mean, it was a slow month.
Yeah, that too, but Dragon Ball is a consistent seller, and I don't think they'll ever stop making Dragon Ball games, for better or worse. I kind of am over the Dragon Ball Z saga. I just want them to move on to new stories and new types of stories. I'm so over just fighting a new, bigger, badder enemy. I just want something different, please.
That's Dragon Ball Super Kakarot.
I mean, it's still the basic Dragon Ball formula. I love it. Dragon Ball is one of my gateways to the anime world and video game world, but I'm so over it. I'm happy.
I've heard from reviews it's not that great, except for nostalgia. Like, it feels like, who was it that said that? It was Imran Khan, the former Informer. He said that somebody else, I don't know who he was quoting, but said it feels like merchandise.
Yeah.
Feels like playing merchandise.
Yeah. I think Tamor Hussein from GameSpot also mentioned something similar on the After Dark podcast from GameSpot. Like,
right, I remember
it's
that.
Like, it's so, I don't want to say lifeless, but it just feels like they're not really giving it their all as what a game could be when you're looking at.
It feels like an open world game with an anime skin, and then but not like it doesn't do anything to innovate.
Yeah, it doesn't bring the franchise to new heights or adapt into such a way that you're thinking, wow, this is how it feels to be a fighter in Dragon Ball Z universe.
They should. Let's make a Dragon Ball Z Yamcha, please.
Please, God, poor Yamcha.
All right. So, moving on to the next story, and I thought this was an important story just because I thought it was just really interesting because this is Next Gen has talked about a lot lately. because it may be coming later this year, although it might be delayed into next year. We're not sure. There's a lot of uncertainty right now.
Yeah.
So this is from Bloomberg.com. Yeah, not a usual source, but kind of official source for this kind of thing. By Takashi Mochizuki, Sony is struggling with PlayStation 5 price due to costly parts.
Yeah.
So $450 per unit, which means they'd sell it, or what was it? Somebody said they'd have to sell it for more than that.
Yeah, if you have to add everything up, you come closer to 470. And that's not even accounting for losses or profit margins, because maybe they'd be looking at it like, oh, this is probably more like a $500 console, but then you'd also have to think like, okay, can people actually afford this? And that's going to be a big discussion heading into this holiday season. And
you also have to look at software.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can sell consoles at a loss and then recoup by making a profit with software. I think that's also why they regularly have sales going on the storefronts. I think what also is at play here is Sony is waiting on Microsoft to make their announcement, because Microsoft is reportedly working on 2 consoles for the coming generation. One a bit more affordable, the other at the higher end. And I think I said it a few weeks back that Sony's probably going to be somewhere in the middle of that.
Tim Geddes of Kind of Funny, he tweeted something, and I'm not sure if it was joking or not. Mm-hmm. He was saying like Xbox Series X. I mean, not X, S. Xbox Series S, $99. And I'm like, you think that their smaller end console is going to be $99? You're crazy.
I think closer to $350, probably.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting to see this kind of news. They also said, and this will be a bit of news related to a bit of news later, but this, according to this article, it says the ongoing coronavirus outbreak has had no impact so far on preparations for PS5 productions.
So far, but I think that's also due to, like with Nintendo, them moving their production pipeline away from China and more towards Southeast Asia. So
yes, but coronavirus is also in Southeast Asia, isn't it?
Sure, but the spread is probably not as heavy as in mainland China. I'm saying probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that was the place that was hitting the hardest.
Yeah. I mean, a part of their pipeline is still in China, so they'll be affected by it regardless of having their main plant or main manufacturing plant in Southeast Asia.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have a little more related to that later. For now, I don't want to talk about scary virus things. So
yeah,
here's a story.
The next pick would have been the internet is torn about Netflix's Dragon Quest.
Oh, we don't have to go over that. We already talked about it.
So we'll head over to your Monster Hunter Riders story.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter Riders is out now in Japan. Mm-hmm. And there's just a lot of gameplay details on it. In the Siliconera article by Alistair Wong. Capcom released a battle trailer. Takes place on the continent of Felgia, where monster riders are prevalent and have an entire guild for themselves. Riders and monsties fight as pairs, but rather than just having one rider and one monstie, you use 3 rider pairs in your main party. Battles take place turn-based combat. You choose skills rather than an attack triangle like in stories. What's interesting... Oh, they're like skills use SP, and then you can use powerful tag skills. But what's interesting is it does use the Monster Hunter Stories battle theme.
Okay.
And then you can get... there's a Monster Collection quest where you can get various lower rarity versions of monsters. I don't know if they meant to put higher rarity, or was if they mean lower rarity, like you have a less chance of. I don't know, but turn order. It's a whole thing. I don't want to like read over the entire thing.
Yeah.
But some of the monsters that are confirmed are the Iodrome, Glavenus, Great Jaggy, Royal Ludroth. Oh, a Monster Hunter World. Wait, no. Yes? No. I'm thinking of the other thing. There's a thing that's similar to it in Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
Royal Ludroth and Brachydios. There's also, I believe there's also Rathalos and Rathian, of course.
I mean, you can't have a Monster Hunter game without Rathalos.
Yeah. It looks like, from here, it looks like also Zinogre and Teostra. That's all I have confirmed so far. But it came out in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Are you looking forward to
let's
it?
see. If it gets localized, yeah. The one, I only saw one, like, impression of it so far, and it was from Gaijin Hunter on Twitter, and he hates it.
Does he?
He really doesn't like it.
Because it's on mobile, or?
No, he just doesn't like a lot of the gacha mechanics and just the way certain things work. Let me try to find his tweet here. Which is interesting because he's like the biggest Monster Hunter fan I've heard.
Oh yeah, I remember him now.
You remember what?
I think you interviewed him, or was it?
I never interviewed him. I wish.
Was it someone else for the site?
No, I don't. No, we've never interviewed Gaijin Hunter. I wouldn't remember that.
I do remember seeing his name pop up.
He was saying. Oh, he did make a video on it too now. I didn't realize that. He said, I'm done with MH Riders. 2 hours and I can tell you it's a horrible game that is an embarrassment to the Monster Hunter name and game design that is archaic. It's an insult to the wonderful character designs they made and the visual aesthetic of Monster Hunter stories. I'll have to watch the video on it. But
maybe
I'm still gonna try it. If it gets localized.
Maybe they'll retool it for Western audiences so that it's less of a cash grab in terms of gacha.
Or by the time it gets here, it will have the Japanese version will have been retooled.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still looking forward to it because we still don't have an enhanced Switch port of Monster Hunter Stories.
Is it ever coming? Do you think?
I mean, hey, they ported it to mobile phones.
Yeah, that's true.
They ported and that wasn't just in Japan. They did that here too.
Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering because Monster Hunter seems like a hot franchise these days. So why not give the Switch some extra love?
That's what Monster Hunter Stories Enhanced Edition. Add some monsters from Monster Hunter World. That's gonna sell a lot of stuff, especially if you advertise that.
Yeah.
You can also put a tie-in with Monster Hunter World, and because of this game, because this game's coming out, there's a special limited time event where you can get this thing.
Well, I think they're kind of winding down now for Monster Hunter World and probably looking at prototyping for the next iteration or maybe something new entirely.
Well, we still don't have a Switch exclusive Monster Hunter in general.
Well, you have the Monster Hunter.
Generations Ultimate, but that is a
It's an enhanced.
That's
port.
a 3DS port.
Yeah.
And I think they are working on a Switch exclusive Monster Hunter that's more akin to the Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
Yeah, but I think it's probably going to be more akin to Monster Hunter Stories, I'm talking about art style wise, because the Switch is not as powerful as a PlayStation or an Xbox or a PC.
Okay, but the 3DS had like regular Monster Hunter
Yeah, yeah,
style.
sure, but I'm just saying, if you have that and compare it to Monster Hunter World, you'll probably feel like you're having a lesser version.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be like a world.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be,
More
like I said,
like
like
the
more like 4
3DS
Ultimate.
versions, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But the nice thing is that using the same art style and concept, it shows the developers themselves still have some interest in like the Monster Hunter stories type stuff.
Or it was probably easier to develop this because the assets were already available.
Don't destroy my dreams.
No, I'm
Okay?
just saying it's a lot less hassle when you have things that are ready as opposed to making it all from scratch.
Okay. And I was gonna say something else about that too.
Yeah,
I blanked out on it
that's
now.
fine. We'll get back to it hopefully.
Because Monster Hunter. I don't know. I want to get back into World at some point.
Oh, if only I had my PlayStation.
I had friend. Hey, it's on PC.
Yeah, but my PC would probably melt if I started that up.
All right. Oh. We'll see what happens with that. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So, when I went to Anime Expo last year, I got to interview like a producer from Capcom and like the CEO of what was it? The CEO of something, whatever other company made Teppen.
Teppen? Let me check for you.
I forgot what it was.
NetEase,
I'm
Netmarble.
Yeah, one of. Well, no, I think it was something else.
Teppen. Wait, I have to check on the Play Store. Teppen was developed by Gung Ho.
Gung Ho Online.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to my interview article. So mobile head of online development Ryozo Sugimoto, who is also, I believe, was a producer on Monster Hunter Stories, and I did not know that when I interviewed him. Because had I known that before, I would have brought a copy of Monster Hunter Stories. Be like, please sign this. It has it has a big fan base, a very dedicated fan base here. Please put it on Switch. But I didn't know until after, and I was like, oh my god, I could have mentioned that. That was a fun interview.
Yeah.
That was they had a big booth at Anime Expo. Anyway, yeah, that's my Monster Hunter Stories regret. Next story, Dragon Quest. I mean, we already reached the quota, but this is talking about an actual game this time. Whoops! I forgot to mention that the game summary was by. Oh no, I think I did. Alistair Wong over at Silicon Era for Monster Hunter Riders, and then the now available was Saurumano over at Gamatsu. Okay, so next story is Dragon Quest Tact first gameplay footage shows battle and some gacha. So this is by Sato over at Silicon Era. It's an upcoming mobile strategy RPG, and they showed a bit of gameplay footage.
Yeah.
So you just kind of, it's a strategy game with monsters. There's like a 3DS one that's kind of similar. That's actually available in the West on the eShop. I was thinking about checking that out.
Well, are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, since more Dragon Quest stuff is getting localized here recently. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try it, especially because of stuff like Into the Breach and Fire Emblem. I've been getting a little more into strategy stuff.
Yeah.
So and there's a whole summary. I don't want to go like over the whole summary. You can go check it out. There's gonna be a beta test in Japan. We don't know if it's gonna be localized yet, but don't forget, you can pre-register for Dragon Quest of the Stars, which comes out, I believe, next week.
You know, if we keep this
Uh,
up, we might end up being sponsored by Square Enix.
Good. Give me free stuff. Look, I was looking up the Dragon Quest Switch because I was like, what if I could get the Dragon Quest Joy-Cons just by themselves? And honestly, I found a decent price on eBay for them. Not that much more than a regular pair of Joy-Cons.
Because regular Joy-Cons, as is, are super expensive.
Yes. But yeah, so Dragon Quest Tact, it looks good if you like strategy games and Dragon Quest. I would recommend checking it out. Sorry, I don't have more to say on that, but like, I didn't want to go through all the details, and we got other stuff to get through.
Yeah, not bad.
So this was your pick.
Yeah, the next story is my pick. Is PlayStation forums will be closing on February 2020. It's from Silicon Era, as reported by Jenny Lada. Excuse me. This is a major bummer because the PlayStation forum has been a good resource and has been a go-to place for me, especially with troubleshooting my console woes, or if I needed an answer, I could find it in there. And now they'll only have us comment on the blog post, so I guess it's not a total loss, but it's such a shame that this resource and this hub for user-generated knowledge is just going to go away. I mean,
is it disappearing completely, or will it be a thing where it's still up, but then it's just you can't do anything except for like
the doors will shut down on February 27th, 2020. No official statement was issued explaining why the PlayStation forums are being shuttered. It is a universal closure, however. In addition to the North American site, the statement was shared on the European one. As reported.
What if they just make a new one and call it something else?
I mean, you could, but this is probably a question of manpower, like who's gonna curate it, who's gonna mod it. Like it's something that's probably too much to focus on, probably. I mean, you could probably have a better controlled message on the PlayStation blog than via the forums, and I think they're probably going to retool their FAQs and their help topics on their website so that people don't have to make use of forums, but it is a great loss.
I've never really had any experience with the PlayStation forums, so I don't think I could speak on that. But yeah, it's always unfortunate when like the access to certain information is like taken down.
Yeah.
Like if GameFAQs was taken down, that would probably hit a bunch of people hard.
That would suck, because some games are impossible to figure out on your own.
Yeah. Like sometimes if I'm stuck in a game, yes, I write about and talk about games. I'm not that great at them, depending on what they are. Sometimes things aren't all that straightforward.
Yeah.
Or I'm tired. So like I gotta look something up and I'm like, oh, okay. But then other times it's like, sometimes the thing that tries to help you only makes the problem worse, and you're like, no, wait, that's not what I want at all.
In my case, it's usually some.
No, that's a rare thing.
Some puzzles that are just so obscure in how they phrase the question, or how you're supposed to get to the answer, and after having spent 9 to 5 hours or 9 to 5 working and then coming home trying to relax, and now you have to expend more energy just to figure out something that's supposed to give you joy. It's kind of a downer, and you just rather have it get it over with than spend way too much energy on it.
I'm not gonna lie. I like those Zero Escape puzzles, man. Without like walkthroughs, I'd barely be able to get through some of them. But then, on the flip side, when I did get through one without a walkthrough, I smelt. Maybe I smelt like it too, but I felt like the smartest person ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I did with Danganronpa too. Someone.
I feel like that Danganronpa 2 is a little more straightforward with that kind of stuff.
I mean, sure, but
for the most part,
when you head into the trials, it can get pretty chaotic with some of the mini games, and if you think something is straightforward, the game will then show you otherwise. Like, no, the answer is this convoluted thing, and you're like, why these extra steps?
But can you spell knife?
Yeah, that exactly. Because you're like, I know the answer. Just give me what I want.
I still need to play 3.
Yeah.
Alright. So, I was gonna say something about virtual reality and Danganronpa 2 and Dragon Quest Your Story, but I couldn't think of something to
The next one's your pick again.
Yeah. So I thought this is just a little like interesting indie game, I guess. This is from Saruman Vikamatsu, story-driven action game Cowboy Yakuza for PC, now available via Steam Early Access. No, it does not star Kazuma Kiryu as a cowboy. Although I would play that.
What a name.
I would play. I don't know how they would do it, but could you imagine like a Red Dead Yakuza crossover game thing?
Well, Yakuza is pretty much Red Dead as is, so...
No, but like putting... mixing certain elements of each and then putting them together.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. I don't mean to get anybody's hopes up. That is not what this is.
No. Okay, let's get into it.
So this is a...
Yeah.
This is like an action game. It's very much like it's kind of like a 70s kung fu movie type thing, like in style. You're this dude with an afro and Texas-born Cleveland Cleve Waingro, and his adventures through late 80s and through late 80s Japan. More downtrodden neighborhoods of Osaka, largely unaffected by the Japanese economic bubble of the 80s, Cleve has been leading a peaceful, quiet life, almost as if he has been hiding from something. He encounters the Yakuza, and then he has to fight Yakuza.
Okay.
The trailer's great. It looks a little rough. The thing that caught my eye is that apparently this has been developed with partial support of Suda51.
Huh. Well, it looks like a weird Suda-esque game.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm fairly certain that's why Suda won.
It's a little, like I said, it's in early access, so even the trailer, it's a little rough around the edges. But once it gets like fully developed, I think it could be a really fun game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the Suda51 thing, and the fact that it's like a 70s, both like a blaxploitation plus a kung fu movie like combined.
Yeah.
Type thing.
It's pretty unique.
Yeah. So I just think people should kind of keep an eye on it. I don't know how much it is on early access.
It says $10.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's early access, like, so you gotta be...
Yeah, maybe if you just want to try it out.
But anyways, yeah, if you don't, but you still want to keep an eye on it, you can, like, put it on your wish list and check out development and all that. It was... Who was it developed by? Publisher and developer Active Gaming Media.
That's someone I've never heard of, but...
No. But they have Suda51's approval. Alright, so next story, also my pick. I actually wrote about it. I actually linked the article that I wrote.
Shameless plug.
Actually, you know what's funny? So this is by me. It's over at GameSkinny. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution coming to more platforms. And this was already known. It was just they kind of reconfirmed it and have a launch window now. So what was funny is the news story came up, and there weren't that many details about it. It was just like, oh, they're confirmed for other consoles, like a spring 2020 launch window. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but you didn't include the information about the update and the new characters and this and that. And so then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a more detailed version. So I post this, and then like a few hours later, I look at another post and it's more detailed than mine, and I was like, dang it!
It's not a competition.
They got me.
It's not a competition.
They got me. I know. Still. So Link Evolutions coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC sometime in spring 2020. Card game will arrive alongside a new update for the original Nintendo Switch version, and I believe this was Konami revealed it in the latest issue of Famitsu. Excuse me. And then so the update will contain 15 new characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! The Yu-Gi-Oh! Virains anime series. God, that's so weird. Because there are only 4. It has a really short campaign for that one. There are 4 characters.
Because that one's the most recent adaptation.
Yes. And then they announced, I forgot what this new one is called. I think it might be called, I swear it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, but I might be wrong.
Let me check.
But it has a completely different animation style than the previous ones, and it's gonna be weird.
Let's see, anime Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. It succeeds V-Reigns.
Oh, it is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I'm right.
Wow, you were not kidding about the art style.
Yeah, doesn't it look a little more like something else?
Kind of looks like Beyblade or.
Yeah, no, I get what it's trying to do. It's trying to look like
card fight.
Beyblade or like the newer Bakugan. Duel Masters. It's not a terrible art style,
but it's such a departure from what we're used to.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks, like in motion. But anyways, back to the Link Evolution news. So it'll bring the total number. The update will add a bunch of new cards, which I'm really excited about. Bringing the total number of cards available in game to over 10,000. It's over 10,000 cards.
You had the same idea.
The most notable feature in the update, however, will be the rule change to the Master Rules, which will once again allow monsters from the extra deck, such as Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monsters, to be placed in any main monster zone or extra monster zone. Additionally, face-down pendulum monsters can be summoned to any monster zone when not specifically pendulum summoned. So, have you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, both in real life and as a video game.
Okay, what is the most recent iteration you played?
When we're talking about the video game, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links on.
No, I mean like with like regarding fusions and stuff.
Oh, you mean like rule sets and that kind of stuff? I think I played till the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX rules.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's when stuff got so. I hate extra deck spam, and so many decks use it. And so when they had this past new Master Rules, they made it so that the Link monsters. So what happened was they made Link monsters. So instead of being able to summon monsters from the extra deck to any zone, each duelist would have one specific zone, and they could only summon one extra deck monster at a time. Unless they had a Link monster. And if they summoned a Link monster, they could summon any other extra deck monsters to the zones that Link monster points to, as long as they meet the other requirements.
Yeah.
for the summoning of that monster. So I thought that was great, because it prevents all the fusion spamming, and it narrows it down and makes it way less annoying. And it's like they gave Link monsters to some of the things that fusion spam anyway, so like to circumvent that.
Mhm.
And I thought it made it better, but now they're bringing it back, and I'm really annoyed. And like a bunch of people are really happy about it. I feel like I'm crazy for being the only one who doesn't like this.
Well, to me, it seems like after Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, it all got a bit more complicated.
Oh, so well, no. Here's the thing: Synchro and Xyz, they're just easier fusions.
Mm.
It's not like, and you can see that in some of the card designs too, because it'll just be like an updated version of another thing. Because like Synchro, it's like you don't need polymerization anymore. You just need a tuner monster and a monster, and they have to have levels that go up to the level of the Synchro monster.
Oh, okay.
And then with Xyz monsters, it's they both have to be the required level. So it'll be like 2 level 4 monsters or 3 level 5 monsters, something like that. So you don't need a tuner monster.
Okay.
And then with Link monsters, it'll just be like 2 or more monsters or 3 or more monsters. It's not anything like super specific.
Yeah, so not too complicated.
Yeah. Pendulum monsters is where they messed up, because well, they did links to kind of slow down pendulums, because pendulum monsters, you would put them in your pendulum zones and they'd be of different levels. So you could put one of like, let's say you put one of level 1 and one of level 8.
Yeah.
And that means you can special summon any monster between those levels onto the field. Any number of that in a said turn.
Yeah, so pretty doable.
No, I'm saying how broken. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not being negative enough. I'm trying to highlight how broken pendulum summoning is.
Well,
So they had to make Link monsters to slow down pendulum summoning, but then Link monsters ended up ruining a bunch of other stuff. I guess. I don't think they ruined stuff.
sure.
So, anyways, I'll let you know, because the update's supposed to be hopefully out around spring 2020,
Yeah,
and I will.
Let me know
I'll update you on that.
Let me know if you can dive into it without much problem.
I also hope. I wish they would add some characters into the other campaigns and not just the Varan's ones, because they have a few duels missing.
I mean, the older generations are so well known. I'm guessing that's why they're trying to put more love into.
It's just annoying, because what they would do that thing where they tell you what happened instead of letting you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then this person dueled this person and this person won. I was like, can't you just let me actually duel the person so I can get more cards and stuff? Okay.
Yeah, I get you.
Okay, that's enough of my Yu-Gi-Oh rant. I can't.
Okay, my turn now.
This was your pick, but I would have probably picked it too.
Yeah. So Kingdom Hearts Dark Road to be available within Kingdom Hearts Union Cross app as standalone app. Oh boy. Okay,
here's what I don't get about
by
this.
Gematsu, by Sal Romano. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't get it. So you can play it by itself.
Yeah. But it's a separate thing within the Union Cross app. And you don't need the Union Cross game. You can just it's a mess, and it's so on brand for Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. People are really mad about it not being its own fully fledged thing, apparently.
Yeah, because they said oh yeah, we have another team working on a Kingdom Hearts game, and you might get a new announcement pretty soon. Wink, wink. And
well, there's another unannounced one that we might get soon, apparently too.
But this one being like the prequel to everything else. Well, not everything else. I mean, you still have the Forebears and the Master of Masters not having been explained much, but I mean, in terms of
it's like a midquel at this point.
Cool. Like Xehanort's origin story is
Or like a pre-midquel, I guess, because the midquel would be like Chain of Memory. Yeah,
oh,
that's so
dear
weird. Oh
Lord.
god.
Yeah. In any case, like this should be highlighting Xehanort, his origins and his rise to power.
Infamy.
Infamy. Yeah, I was thinking of saying infamy too, but yeah, it's already disappointing that it's a mobile game. Not because it's a mobile game, but because everything else is on consoles, and now to be or taking part in the next chapter of the story, you have to do it on your mobile phone. It's like enough already with the fragmenting of the series. Enough already, and now it's part of the other app, but it's its own app, and you don't need the other app really. It's so confusing.
I don't. Now I've played Union Cross before, and I liked it. I thought it's a fine mobile game. It's just, yeah, it's so convoluted as as is Kingdom Hearts tradition. It's just like I don't mind that. Like this is kind of what I expected it to be. Like once they said it was a mobile game, like I didn't expect it to be. I was like, oh, it's probably going to look similar to that. I was like, yep. But the app within the app, oh god, app within an app, and then the app's nobody and the app's heartless.
It's so on brand for Kingdom Hearts and Square Enix to be convoluted.
Look, I might still try it out just to get some extra story bits.
Yeah, sure, but I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
After that Kingdom Hearts 3 disappointment?
I wasn't.
I mean, not 3 I mean, Remind disappointment.
I still haven't played it because, lack of console, but.
Yeah. I think I talked about that.
Yeah, you did, but. Yeah. I just have no words.
It just keeps. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, exactly.
I just keep getting reminded I need to go back and play Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix because that is such a good game.
Well, now you can on almost any platform.
Well, I have it.
Okay, so there you go.
I have all the Kingdom Hearts games except the mobile.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on.
Yeah.
This is also your pick.
Yeah, and my pick is also the Persona 5 Royal makes changes to problematic dialogue, localization veteran explains how. And this is a GameSpot article by our senpai, Michael Hyam.
How is he? Wait, how is he your... He's my senpai, probably.
Well,
I think you're older than him.
I'm probably older than him, but as in terms of him being in the industry a lot longer and probably a bit higher, he is than my senpai.
That's true. I'd say he's probably mine too because we're from the same city and also because because of the reasons you said.
Yeah. So yeah, senpai said, or he interviewed Yu Namba from the Persona localization team about the changes made to Persona Royal, with emphasis on a particular scene concerning, I think, two gay guys hitting on Ryuji.
Ryuji.
Yeah, and the way it... Wait, is it Ryuji?
Yeah, it was Ryuji. It says in the article.
Yeah, okay. And the way it's presented in the original game, it's kind of predatory because they're two older men and they're hitting on Ryuji, and Ryuji has no idea that he's being hit on. And the way the men are portrayed is also kind of very stereotypical.
Predatory?
Yeah, besides being predatory.
That's what it says in the article.
Yeah, but they're also portrayed as very stereotypical flamboyant gay men.
Yes. Yeah. So, also, if you're reading any of these articles, for the love of God, do not read the comments because I made the mistake of doing that.
It's par for the course with these topics. Because I'm
like, why would people be mad about this one dialogue change in a 100-hour game, and it's because people are like, this is how it starts, and then they're gonna edit out everything else. I'm like, no, because that takes way more work and is unrealistic.
To them, it's like, oh no, they're censoring my game, and if this offensive thing, quote unquote, is taken out, what's next? Is it women with cleavage shown in video games? Is it sexual content? And I think they're conflating a few things, like actual censor.
Honestly, it would be like, yeah, obviously it's too late now, but if they had never localized it that way in the first place, could have avoided the whole situation. And I'm sure they realize that now.
Sure, but that's not what localization does. Localization looks at a product, translates it, but also looks at the cultural implications of the translation. Because
that's what I'm saying. They it seems like they probably didn't look hard enough at the cultural implications.
From what I've read on the original Persona 5 release in the West, it's probably that they didn't have that much time to localize it. It's probably a rumor, so if I'm mistaken.
Oh yeah, because it was delayed a bunch, huh?
Yeah, because it's a pretty meaty game, like 100+ hours, and you have to imagine it's like tomes and tomes of dialogue, and to localize,
especially with this, all the added stuff,
and to localize all of that into English, and it being a modern setting, it's pretty tough. And now they have an opportunity to fix it, quote unquote fix it or adjust it, and you should see it as a plus, not a negative.
Yeah, because a lot of people like that. I know people who like avoided Persona 5 because of that, and now other people are allegedly going to avoid this version of Persona 5 because of that.
And I think this is also due to a lot of misinformation about other games, like Catherine Full Body had also some content readjusted concerning was it Erica? Excuse me. The
I don't know. I've never played Catherine, but I remember reading.
There's
about
a character
this
in the game who is probably transgender, if I'm not mistaken.
Or something like that. Yeah.
It's been such a long time, so please correct me.
It's been a while, and
So the way it's handled in the original game is kind of it left something to be desired. So when it came to the new game, they were going to readjust things, and from early impressions, it was told that the game was still a bit on the offensive side, but it was misreported, and it was a whole mess. So the only way to be sure about these things is to wait till the full release and then have people report on it, or you just buy the game and see for yourself.
Yeah, I still think it's gonna do, like, for the biggest Persona 5 fans. I know plenty of big Persona 5 fans who are still excited for this. I'm scared they're gonna be disappointed because there won't be quite as much extra content as they're hoping.
Well, allegedly.
Yeah. I'm not getting it because of, well, one, because of that, but two, because it's just so long and I have all these other RPGs and I've played Persona 5 already.
I'm probably gonna get it because it has a sick, sweet steel case.
Steelbook? Of course.
Yeah, that. I have the original steel case edition, and I really love Persona 5. It's not my favorite Persona. That will probably be Persona 4 Golden. But I still like it a lot.
I still need to finish Persona 3.
Yeah, I mean,
at some point, if they ever re-release it somewhere.
Hopefully. On Switch. But back to Persona 5, I really like it, and I've been itching to replay it, and it being an updated version gives me a good excuse to do that.
I got stuck on, like, the space... what do you call them? Are they called dungeon? Wait, palace?
Yeah, palace.
Like the space-themed one?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, like, I was stuck on it for so long, and I don't know why. And then, like, so I put it down for, like, a month or so, I went back to it. Okay, now I need to figure out how to. And then I go through a door, and like I'm at the next part, and I was like, is that all I had to do the whole time? um.
Well, yeah,
Also,
yeah.
I-
Go ahead.
I hope that if they do re-record lines, I don't know how it goes for localization when this happens, because I know sometimes they re-record stuff. I hope maybe these voice actors do the Japanese pronunciations better, because I know they can, because they've been in other stuff where they do it right.
Well, I'm gonna have to disappoint you, because the interview goes into that too, and they say like, we've decided to keep the story and pronunciation Bible intact from the original release, because you have to imagine that would be a whole lot more work.
Sakamoto.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a lot more.
That's not how it's pronounced.
I know it's not how it's pronounced, but
and I'm sure that voice actor knows that, or those voice actors know that. That might have been a direction thing.
Yeah, it's probably attributed to a whole lot of factors, not just the voice actor, his performance, or the direction.
Yeah, because these voice actors are like they do a good job, but
do a good job. The pronunciation.
It's just that pronunciation, and that's not even their fault necessarily.
But it's also difficult because speaking Japanese from originally speaking English, or having English being your native language, that can also cause some vowels and some sounds to sound differently. Like, I'm not.
For God's sake, just use Google Translate.
No, sure, but I'm not an English speaker natively, and I'm doing my best.
Dun dun dun.
I'm sure you can probably tell that my accent is all over the place. Like, you have a bit of Scandinavian, a bit of Dutch, a bit of English, a bit of whatever.
Really? I thought it was just your microphone the whole time. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you're a product of your environment, and you being a non-native Japanese speaker is also going to show in you pronouncing Japanese in a certain way.
Look, as long as nobody's Greg Millering it, and it's okay, I've met Greg a bunch of times. I've never talked to him about his pronunciation and stuff. I know it's a joke, but he can't be in a Persona game.
Well, as a joke character, maybe.
Okay, that's true. I can't stand the Yakuza thing. I just can't.
It's
if it's like saying what's out today and it's a long Japanese title, okay, that's fair.
Well, you know,
but
as Shakespeare once said, "What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other."
Yeah.
Sweet.
Anyways, you know, it's like I said with the Persona 5 thing, I'm glad they're changing it. I'm upset that there are actually people upset about this minor change that's a good change.
Well, I mean, the reason why they're scared is also because of some publishers being a bit more strict, like Sony as a whole.
Yeah, but like Atlas isn't for kids.
No, I mean, I know, but when you consider Sony as a whole being a lot more strict with suggestive material, and you as a fan hearing all of that and hearing this being localized in a certain way, you automatically think like, oh no, they're gonna cut all the content that I'm actually in it for. It's kind of, yeah, like I said, it's a whole mix of misinformation and paranoia that's kind of unwarranted.
Speaking of Sony and paranoia, next story.
PlayStation.
Good segue.
PlayStation cancels PAX East attendance due to coronavirus concerns and GDC.
Yeah, so the GDC story just happened a little bit before we recorded.
Yeah.
I will be at GDC, or I plan on going to GDC if they don't cancel it. It doesn't. I keep getting emails for it, so it doesn't look like they are.
Just be careful.
But Yeah, no, dude, I worked in sanitation for a year. I've gotten very used to more thoroughly being aware of my hand cleanliness.
Okay.
I don't know how to say that without saying, like, I washed my hands before.
Oh,
Like, I wasn't trying to say, like, oh, I never did that before and now I do.
cool.
You know,
We believe you.
I was trying to say it in a way that didn't make it seem like it, like, oh, I didn't start doing that until
No, we
recently.
believe you. Don't worry. We believe you.
No, like, when I go to conventions, I always try to bring some hand sanitizer with me. Make sure to wash my hands. Everything, stuff everybody should do, just in daily life in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, PlayStation canceled their appearance at both PAX East and GDC due to coronavirus concerns. And like, it could work either way, right? They could be worried from their employees getting it, or for their employees spreading it.
Both. I saw
Yeah.
someone explaining it on Twitter. Like, you have to consider that they'll also be flying in people from Asia
Yes.
to states or wherever these conventions are held, and they might be a risk or at risk, and you don't want to have that in a very heavily populated area where germs are more likely to spread. And you kind of want to be careful of that.
Some people are being a little too paranoid about this kind of thing, though. Like I said, make sure to wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. Like, don't live your life in fear of this thing unless you're one of the, like, unless you happen to be, you know, elderly or have an immune deficiency or are, like, a young child. I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. Go read a book, please.
Yeah, I think you said it on the last episode where I said it like, hey, if you're worried about this, look up official organization, their guidelines, like the
CDC, WHO, all that stuff.
And they'll probably have guidelines for how to deal with this. And yeah, consider that.
Because people are getting like so paranoid on social media, and they're like, well, what if China is like lying about the numbers, and what if this and what if that, and it's like this many people like have been killed by it so far. I'm kind of like, well, where are you getting those numbers? Who are the people who passed due to it? Did they pass due to it specifically? There's just so many details that are unknown that you can't just generalize.
They're not just getting paranoid, also a bit racist.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And like, think about it this way. Yeah, maybe a lot of people have coronavirus, and it's kind of tricky because there's that 2-week like incubation period, or like 14, 15 day. But think about all the people who have coronavirus. Think about all the people who don't have coronavirus. As in, think about it the way I think about car accidents. Yeah, there are a bunch of car accidents every day, but there are also a bunch more not accidents every day. I don't know how I meant to phrase that.
I think you're trying to say the likelihood of you being infected and
the likelihood
suffering
is not
from this is not as high as you think.
Yeah, and people are paranoid because it's from China, and you know, China is a hot button issue. Like, yeah, China itself has been a hot button issue recently. So it's just like this whole thing. I'm hoping, because that's weird. Because like PAX is like next week.
Yeah.
So like that makes sense. GDC is next month.
Yeah. So it's a bit too early for them to comfortably say, hey, we're gonna send our people. And with no good outlook on what coronavirus is and how it can be resolved.
Now, developers already have GDC plans, like set. So, them doing it this early might just be a necessary precaution, just so they don't, but, you know, people go to conventions, but, like, think about how many heavily, in the U.S., I don't know about where you are, but, like, in the U.S., you know, think about how many places people go, like the grocery store, the movie theater, the mall. I don't know.
Yeah.
And like, all those people are probably okay. I don't know. But like,
Yeah.
think about how many people don't get stuff like that. Like, if this was a thing that was happening on a daily basis in so many different places, it would be really bad. But like, you know, it's like, oh, there are this many cases in this city over here, and like a few cases in this, and like, you know, they get quarantined. And actually, we had a case here. Somebody got quarantined, and then they said they were fine, but their test results were wrong, so they had to go back immediately.
So,
but they didn't die. They're still alive. They're not like dead. They're not suffering. None of the people who are quarantined that I know of are like.
The mortality rate is not as high as people are making it out to be.
It's just having it sucks because of how contagious it is.
It's a mess. People should just read up on official guidelines, read up on official data, and then make up their minds.
It's one of those things where by the time of GDC next month, I hope the concerns are a little more mellowed out.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
But, you know, I don't know if you ever watched the movie Contagion.
I've heard that was a popular movie now.
Yeah, I highly recommend it because that gives you a kind of accurate or semi-accurate display of how a virus spreads or how it could spread. And one of the things that helps it spread or that also begins to spread is misinformation, and how misinformation can also become viral in the literal sense of the word.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a nice way of tying in all those things to make a compelling case.
I don't think I'm not gonna watch that movie until after this stuff hopefully blows over.
I get you.
I'd get too paranoid about stuff, and I'm already kind of weird about stuff after having working in sanitation for the past year or so. I don't recommend it. Anyway,
moving on.
So hopefully, I really hope everything sorts itself out. You know, that next gen. I mean, if next gen was delayed a year, whether it's because of this or because of whatever else, like, I'm sure people wouldn't mind. Or at least, you know, the general public probably wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Investors might be a little miffed, but what are you gonna do?
I mean, you can't be miffed about a thing you can't control.
Rich investors can get very mad about anything they don't get to control.
Probably.
Anyway. Apologies to our investors. No, I'm just kidding. Imagine. Anyways, on to not dark stuff. Happy, fluffy, soft things. Animal Crossing stuff.
Yay!
So I didn't put any of the articles in the doc because there were just so many of them. So Nintendo had a direct super early in the morning today because they're crazy.
Well, you have to imagine it's not just for you people; it's for other people as well.
Hey, what do you mean, you people?
Like you.
Excuse me.
You people from the Pacific Standard Time.
Just for Americans?
No, I mean it was
North American.
It was 5 p.m. Pacific time. That would be.
It was 5 p.m. Pacific time for you?
No, I mean for you.
No.
For you.
No, it was 5. It wasn't 5 p.m.
Or 5 a.m. Sorry.
Yeah, if it was 5 p.m., nobody would be complaining.
5 a.m. Yeah, it was 5 a.m. But
no, it was 6 a.m. for us.
Okay, and then you have to imagine on the Eastern.
A lot of people got up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, for other people it's a lot more manageable. I don't know why they put it at 6 a.m. So
they just like doing that.
I guess.
Everybody can get the news out, and then they have the biggest news story of the day, and then anybody else who wanted to put their news story out is just like, oh.
Yeah.
Anyways, they have you can choose the shape of your island. You can terraform your island. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
So there's like a ghost you can talk to at night. there are seasons. I mean, there were always like seasons. In New Leaf there were seasons. You have 4-player like multiplayer.
Up to 8 players co-op, right?
Yeah, I didn't get that. I know it was
like up to 8 players can play together.
This article says players who share an island can participate in party play, forming teams of up to 4.
Yeah.
So up to 8 user accounts on a single system can inhabit the same getaway.
Yeah.
And then if you have somebody as a best friend, they can help you like build stuff and they have privileges to help you do stuff.
Yeah, because if you're just someone visiting another island, you can't modify the island as you wish. But if you're a best friend, you can.
Yeah, so I won't be accidentally destroying my friend's plants again.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
What else?
Amiibo support.
Yeah, some will be available from the get-go, and others will be added as they move forward. There was a.
And then there were some things in details that they didn't talk about. Like you can customize coffee mugs.
Yeah, so you can connect the Switch entry, like New Horizons, with the 3DS ones, and in the 3DS ones you can like edit your own pictures that you can then upload to the Switch.
Yeah, for designs for clothes.
Yeah, it's a bit convoluted in how it all connects together, but
yeah. Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh, too bad I don't have my New Leaf file anymore.
Yeah. You have to scan the QR code, and that uploads to the New Leaf version, and then it's a whole thing.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Nintendo, why can't you make things easier? Speaking of convoluted things, the whole save data thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't support cloud functionality, but there will be a way to recover save data from the server if your console breaks or you get lost or somebody steals it, and it's going to be available to Nintendo Switch Online members later this year.
Yeah, and only once.
Yeah, and only once.
Yeah, it's like we mentioned last week, I guess. It's probably due to them being very protective of their infrastructure game with the games. Like, if you have a rare item and you safe scum it into multiples, that's game breaking, and I think they are trying to avoid that. It's also the reason why Pokemon doesn't have this feature, so that you don't have like a full team of 6 Mewtwo's or something crazy like that.
A full team of Mewtwo's. Yeah, it's weird, but I mean, I don't really care because I have my launch Switch, or not launch Switch, but a little later than that, and it runs fine. And I'm getting Animal Crossing digitally anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
for us, it would be fine, but think of it this way: if you have
for families and stuff, it's kind of annoying.
Like Gary Whitta said it on Twitter, like, imagine having the game and having multiple Switches in your household, but you can't carry it over. It's kind of frustrating how everything's locked onto one island. I mean, you can still go visit your friends on their island, but it's kind of backwards and anti-consumer to have it all locked into one system.
Yeah. Oh, apparently, also you can't. So, since before you could tweak your system clock, so you could have like the seasons change and the event go forward. It won't happen until Nintendo releases the update. So even if you move your clock forward, it won't do the event until the update is officially out.
Yeah. I'm never a big fan of moving the clock forward because I like enjoying games on my own pace, or at my own pace. I don't have to skip forward or backwards. I just do whatever comes naturally.
Yeah. I don't have all that much more to say about Animal Crossing. There were a lot of details in the direct.
I mean, we'll be sure to link it.
Yeah, we'll link it. We're gonna talk about it once it comes out. It is a lot of the details are like not the greatest thing to talk about on a podcast. I feel unless you're really, really into it. Like I like Animal Crossing, but I'm not as into it as like some people are.
Yeah, I've never played Animal Crossing, so this will probably be my first experience with it, with the series. Then.
Oh, another thing is you can choose. A big thing is where you could choose where your neighbors put their houses.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
I guess.
Because before it was just kind of random. And then...
The funny thing is, me being a first time, or like, someone who's never played the series before, it's all like the first time to me, so them announcing all these features is like, oh, yay, I guess. But
it's a lot of good improvements.
Yeah, I'm seeing my timeline losing their minds over all the improvements, and it's looking like a fun, chill and relaxing game. And
yeah, I'm really excited to try out the multiplayer. Yeah. I know this was supposed to be our main topic, and that was kind of all we had, and but like, because I also want to get to our listener questions, because we actually have two.
Well, we're almost at 2 hours, so it's
that too. But we can go a little over if we feel like it. But I just don't have any. I just also don't have anything else to say about Animal Crossing specifically. I feel kind of bad because like I watched the direct, but I didn't really write any notes down. The biggest thing was terraforming the island to your liking.
The Nintendo Direct has all the information you need, and they could explain it better than we ever could. So give it a watch.
Yeah. Like there's a GameSpot video that's 19 things we learned from the Animal Crossing Direct, which would probably be a good one.
Yeah, if you don't have.
Also, they also announced they're going to do a talk. The developers are going to do like a talk about the development of New Horizons at GDC.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fun.
So hopefully that happens.
Yeah.
I will, and like I said, I'll be going to GDC. I'm going to try to go to that if I can. Mm-hmm. But GDC is weird because the times for the talks aren't announced, and then I might already have appointments during it. I have no idea. So we'll know. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Brief. The talk will delve into the fundamental concepts and design philosophies that have been a part of the franchise since the beginning, and reveal how these ideas have evolved over time in response to changes in the world around us. Promises to be a rare look inside the Animal Crossing design and development process. Yeah, so that'll be cool. So, yeah, sorry, the main topic I had to kind of go through fast, and I was kind of lacking info there, but I'm talking to our audience, not you.
I'm speaking on behalf of the audience.
Yeah, so we got some listener questions. I actually forgot to retweet about it today so we could get a little more. Mm-hmm. But we have 2 listener questions here. So one is from John, our boss man over at Parallax Media.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite anime show that you never finished watching? I started Attack on Titan and never finished it. It's awesome. That's word for word what he said. So I got a list here.
Wow.
Because I had to think about it.
Okay.
So, Code Geass would be number 1. I have not finished it yet, but I plan on finishing it very soon.
It's on Netflix.
Yes. Gundam 00.
Not on Netflix.
It is on Hulu.
Okay.
I believe it's still on Hulu. It said it was expiring Thursday, but then it was still on, and then it didn't have the expiring Thursday sticker anymore, so I have to check.
Probably.
I just finished watching 8th MS Team yesterday.
Ah. Oh,
That was a good
you've been
one.
on a Gundam kick lately.
I've been on an anime kick lately.
Ah.
Steins Gate. I need to finish that. Outlaw Star, because that is like 100% my type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Original Dragon Ball. Yes, I've never finished original Dragon Ball.
Nah.
I got to Mercenary Tau. And Psychopaths. Well, I own season 1, and I would usually write off season 2.
Yeah.
The way Tamor on GameSpot After Dark was talking about it a few episodes ago made me really want to watch it, because it made it sound a lot more interesting than anybody else has. Like,
Well, I mean,
Psychopaths 2 and 3.
the consensus in the community is season 2 can be skipped, or series 2 can be skipped. Season 1 is a very good show. Season 2 delves into interesting topics, but is not as good as the first series.
Yeah.
Series 3 seems to be more of a return to form.
Yeah, and then there are a bunch of new characters, and apparently characters who aren't in it anymore, who were main characters.
Yeah, they
and
have a
I'm just
different.
like, wow, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are other ones, but those are the main ones that I can think of. What about you?
Favorite anime show that I never finished watching. My
One Piece.
favorite is such strong. I mean, I like One Piece, but it's not my favorite.
How dare you?
Growing,
I'm kidding.
I mean, growing up, it was definitely on my radar, and I was the first one to watch it in my group of friends. And I actually introduced my brother to One Piece, and he ended up surpassing me by keeping up with the show. And I'm still somewhere in the. Wait, where did I stop? I stopped somewhere in the Thriller Bark arc.
Oh, okay. So you got all the way through Skypiea then.
Yeah, more or less, because when he was watching, I was kind of peripherally watching, not really paying attention, but I was there for the big moments. And I've also played Pirate Warriors 3, so I'm aware of the big story beats up until a certain point.
Okay, but I didn't mean to sidetrack you
No,
from
it's fine,
anime,
it's fine.
actually.
But as in terms of a favorite show, man, favorite is such a strong word.
I mean, I think it just means like I took favorite as just an anime you liked. And you just haven't gotten around to finishing it.
I'd say I can't really think of anything, but if I can cheat a bit, I'd say Vinland Saga from last season.
How is that cheating?
Because it's a more recent entry.
Oh, it doesn't have to be. It could be like nobody said it.
But why I'm saying it's cheating, because I've read the manga, first 3 volumes, and that's more or less where the anime ends. So I'm aware of the big outcome of the show.
Okay, but I think that still counts.
I guess, but.
Oh, I still haven't finished JoJo Part 5 also. I have the last 2 episodes left.
That's a good one. JoJo. I started JoJo. I made it all the way to Series 2. And then dropped it for some reason. I should really get back into that.
Wait, you only watched Part 1?
Part 1 and 2.
Oh, you got through Part 2.
Yeah, well, not all.
Okay, well, to be fair, Part 3 is insanely long, and you want to go to an episode guide for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind.
There's just some episodes some parts just take a little longer than they should, and really kind of dragged on.
There is a comedy show called The Pet Girl of Sakuraso.
Never heard of that one.
It's on Crunchyroll. I'll link it to you. It's 24 episodes. It's really funny. And
you know what? I've been watching the old, not the new one, but the newer one, but the old Gintama.
Oh, Gintama is amazing.
The dub of it is on Hulu, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty funny.
I used to watch that a lot. I kind of dropped off during the first run, and then it was kind of cancelled or on hiatus, and then I never got back into it when it returned. And then I started up again when it was announced that they replaced the main character with someone else. And I was like, no way. That has to be a joke. And for sure they did it, but they did it in the Gintama way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, some comedy anime is great because it doesn't rely on certain types of like it's just silly. And what did I not? I haven't finished Psyche K either. That's a really good
It's
one.
also on Netflix.
Well, yeah, that's what. So I watched. So season 1, they have the dub of season 1, and then they have the dub of Psyche K Awakening, which is like stuff they didn't cover in the original show, but stuff that was covered in the manga. But season 2 isn't. Season 2 of the original isn't dubbed on Netflix, and honestly, that's one of the ones where if you speak English, I'd recommend the dub over the sub because I think it's a lot funnier.
Okay.
Also, the Rock Lee spin-off anime I thought was pretty
That was
funny.
fun. Oh,
Back in the day.
who's your writer for the virtual escape games?
Uchikoshi. Kotaro Uchikoshi.
Uchikoshi also wrote for an anime called Punchline. You know that one?
Punchline?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. It's a very strange concept.
Yeah, it's very strange, and there's also a visual novel based on it. But I recently restarted the show, and it's interesting. it's very Japanese in terms of fan service. So if that's not to your liking, maybe look elsewhere. But Uchikoshi is probably also known for his fan service in his stories.
I did just after mentioning Code Geass, I want to mention a news story we didn't go over. So in the new Super Robot Wars DD, they have Lelouch piloting Wing Gundam Zero Rebellion. So it's Wing Gundam Zero with the feathery wings and stuff, but it's with like Zero's color aesthetic.
Yeah.
So it's black and gold, and the wings are purple, and the orb in the middle is purple. Looks pretty cool. Except for the feathery wings on Wing Zero are just weird in general, but
I mean,
I
that's,
don't know.
that's kind of like the ideal version of what Wing Zero looks like.
It's just a weird design choice that is feathery wings instead of like actual like mechanical looking
It's
wings. Anyway, well, yeah. So those are all the anime. I can't believe I made a whole list of that. And they're probably more like I have other anime on Netflix queued up. And that I can't think of. Probably on Crunchyroll. I haven't been on Crunchyroll in a while. You know what? I never finished Flame of Recca either.
Oh, that's a good one.
I never know when people know about Flame of Recca, or like people either have watched it or have no clue about it. I feel.
Because it's kind of an older title, and
yeah, but it's funny because didn't it come out around the time of like Inuyasha and stuff?
Yeah, more or less. And
I watched the dub, and the dub wasn't broadcast on like an easy to get channel. I only watched the dub through like some DVDs I rented once.
Okay.
But now the dub is on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
So. Okay, we should probably move on to the next question.
Okay, cool.
Maybe we could do a special like one-off thing, one of the off weeks, like pre-recorded before, just talking about anime. The anime special.
That would be great.
The In From Japan anime OVA. Alright, so this question is from Brett Woodmansey. I believe it's probably a friend of John's. So, which game got you into JRPGs, and what is the first game/series you'd recommend to someone?
That is an excellent question. Okay,
so
you go first then.
Okay, so what got me into... So if you want to go... We're going to have to go through two separate things here. Or three. So like the first JRPG, technically, that I played was Pokemon, like many others. And then so Pokemon got me interested in Dragon Quest Monsters, and then Dragon Quest Monsters got me interested... Well, a combination of Pokemon, Dragon Quest Monsters, and Digimon got me interested into that whole subgenre, and that's why I talk about it so much today. And then I don't know what the first like proper JRPG I played all the way through is, because it wasn't until later. Because like I said, it was mostly like Mon stuff. So it definitely wasn't until like, I want to say, it must have been Persona. To be honest, it must have been Persona 4. Well, no. Yeah, because I didn't play that many JRPGs until college, to be honest. And then, I'm trying to think. I did play one. There was one JRPG that I may have mentioned before, that I played that I never got through. But my friend Kaylee, who maybe will be on this podcast at some point, she said she was obsessed with it, like when she was younger. And it's Inuyasha's Secret of the Cursed Mask for PS2.
Wow.
Not a great game, but also not a terrible RPG.
I mean, there are worse RPGs probably.
Yeah, I don't know why like more anime use the JRPG route instead of like the fighting game route.
Well, fighting games are a bit easier to pull off, I guess.
Yeah, but like you have a template, like you have a template for like a basic JRPG. Like, you could use Dragon Quest mechanics and then just rename the spells into whatever their attacks are.
But I think you're trying to sell to the most common denominator, and RPGs are kind of...
I'm just saying, you don't have to make it super fancy. It's just like, I don't know, I'm just tired of every anime having a very subpar 3D fighter.
It's what sells easier than what you'd expect, probably.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it's also.
But anyways, what I'd recommend. As for what I'd recommend, I would recommend. I would recommend Dragon Quest XI just because of how accessible it is for that genre. It's not like super complicated or anything. It's very traditional. It's modern in terms of graphics. It has a lot of content. It's a good way to get started into JRPGs. Yeah. And then for Pokemon and stuff like that, I would totally recommend Let's Go. And I know it's a little different than like the other Pokemon games, but it's very good for like younger children to be introduced.
And you can also play co-op to help them out.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Okay, I guess it's my turn. What game got me into JRPGs? The funny thing is I can't actually remember what my first entry into JRPGs was. I kind of feel like I've always been culturally aware of Final Fantasy, so I want to say Final Fantasy, but I also can't be certain. Let's see.
The first Final Fantasy game I played was Kingdom Hearts.
That doesn't count. Let's see. I want to say it's either Final Fantasy 4 or 6. That I was introduced to, but I'm probably misremembering it. But for
really, because the people who talk about 6 as their first experience or like their first like real experience love 6.
Yeah, but I also didn't. Well, being from South America, your access to video games is limited to whatever you're selling, or whenever you're going on vacation, or someone from the States is coming over to bring you games, so you never have a concept of what's really out there. So
let me ask: are bootlegs common, or like they were they common growing up?
Bootlegs weren't common until you hit Game Boy, and those 100.
Yeah, 100. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and then there were also those 101 consoles that look like a knockoff PlayStation or Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
But for sure.
Dude, I was at the farmer's market down the street, and there was a guy selling something like that, like yesterday.
Yeah, they're out there. They're definitely out there. But as for what I clearly remember from my younger days, it's probably Super Mario RPG on a Super Nintendo. and I just distinctly remember the square logo, and I know I've seen it somewhere else. As for what really got me into RPGs, it would probably be Tales of Symphonia on the Nintendo GameCube.
It wasn't that Sunsoft game?
The Power Quest on Game Boy.
Yeah, Power Quest.
No, I mean it was fun but kind of difficult. Pokemon.
So Tales of Symphonia.
Well, no, Tales of Symphonia is pretty.
No. I'm saying so. I'm trying to get back on track to the.
Yeah, so Tales of Symphonia
Sorry.
was a game I saw in a magazine, a UK magazine, and it came pre-packaged with a DVD that had trailers on it. And Tales of Symphonia was one of them. So I saw it, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" Like cel-shaded graphics on GameCube, and it's not turn-based combat; it's action combat. Like that's impossible. It's like, is that even allowed? So
I feel like GameCube graphics have aged rather well.
well, stylized for sure.
Stylized, yeah.
So
Not NBA whatever.
So I was in middle school and I was sick for well, not sick. I had to undergo an operation, so I was at home for a few days, and then me and my brother just started playing that, and it was close to summer vacation, and once summer vacation hit, we played it every day for the final 2 weeks.
So you played you had the perfect time to get an operation. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So we played that game from top to bottom, and we started it on the harder difficulty and all the way to Mania, because after every completed game you unlock extras for the next playthrough. I think all the Tales of games have that, so we just tried to grind that out, and we had the game facts handy for the extra costumes, so we did all of the things you could possibly do.
All the like side. I don't know if it has side.
Yeah, it has a
quests,
lot of side quests. Like,
okay.
if you go off the beaten path, you can get some pretty interesting story stuff. And till this day, Tales of Symphonia is one of my favorite RPGs.
I had it on PS3, but I could just never get into it. Like the Tales games, I could just never get into. I'm hoping with a Rise that might change.
Tales games are kind of like difficult to place in terms of quality, because you have some people that are diehards for the PlayStation 1 era Tales games, and you have some people who are diehards for Tales of Symphonia or Vesperia, and more late.
And then you have some people that love the fact that the Tales of Symphonia, the Tales of Fantasia Game Boy Advance release, they localized the term Ragnarok to kangaroo, which is amazing.
Yeah, I also play that one, but yeah, Tales of Symphonia is so accessible and so user friendly. It'd also be a great entry point, but then I'd recommend Tales of Symphonia or Vesperia. Vesperia can get a bit dark near the end.
I watched the Vesperia movie.
Yeah, but that's more a prequel than.
No, I liked what I saw. Like I was, because I was hyped for the HD remaster or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just never picked it up.
It's a great movie, and the game is also very, very.
I hear mixed things about the game.
Vesperia, the HD remaster has a bit of a mixed reception because the original voice cast is replaced in certain places.
Oh, right.
So that is kind of a sore spot for the community,
but the people I've talked to is gameplay wise, because they started playing Tales a little later.
Yeah. So if you start later and go back to Symphonia and Vesperia, it can be a tough transition. But for players like me who started all the way from the older games all the way to the later games, it's kind of different. And Symphonia and Vesperia are fan favorites, and justifiably so. Uh,
And then I tried Tales of Abyss on 3DS, and I really did not like it. I got to like the second boss, and I just was not feeling
it's
it.
probably also because it was so compressed. It was
That
originally
that too.
a PS2 game, and then having it on 3DS, it's kind of uh,
And it's not, and it's different because it's an action-based
yeah.
game. It's not like porting Dragon Quest 8 to 3DS.
Yeah, so Tales is a very different approach to gameplay than what you're accustomed to from turn-based games. And
Like I said, I hope Arise maybe changes that, and then if I want to play Berseria eventually.
I mean, Berseria is also well regarded. I haven't really played that one yet. Only the demo.
Yeah, I've only played the
The
demo.
most recent one I played was Zestiria, and I hated every single moment of that game's
Wow.
existence.
Have you played Grace's F?
No, I haven't, but I've heard good things about it, especially.
I watched a good friend of mine who was my roommate in college.
Mhm.
I watched him play through most of it, and I mean it looked decent. I didn't want to play it myself because at the time I really wasn't into those type of things. Oh, you know what? Now that I think of it, a thing that got me more into JRPGs and Mon games
Mhm.
when I was in college was Ni no Kuni,
Oh yeah, Nino Kuni.
because it's kind of a mix of
Yeah,
both.
it's also very beginner friendly and accessible. So
Yes.
if you're looking for a first time RPG, you can not go wrong with the Nino Kuni series, like 1 or 2.
I need to pick up the remastered version at some point.
Yeah, so
I have really good memories of that game because I'd be playing it and we'd have a bunch of friends over in our dorm room and like we'd take turns naming the different monsters and I don't know, it was really fun.
that's fun. As for me, I also played a bunch of RPGs via emulators,
Ah,
which is kind of incriminating, so I won't mention what I played. But
you shouldn't even mention that at all. Woo!
well, I'm still in the gray area. As for recommendations,
This is the police. It wasn't me.
sure. As for recommendations, I'd say Kingdom Hearts.
For an action JRPG, yeah, for sure.
I mean,
I
also
mean,
for young.
Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, you don't have to go
Yeah,
everything.
I mean,
I don't know.
if you want to, start with 1 and 2, and if you think you'd like to see more of the story, go ahead. But 1 and 2 are great entry points for especially younger players, how they mix Final Fantasy with Disney. That could be
Yeah.
fun. The Super Mario.
Yes, Paper Mario and Super Mario RPGs.
Yeah, but those are probably a bit harder to come by these days, and
Uh,
maybe also a bit pricey for a secondhand copy.
the Mario and Luigi ones are a bit easier because they had the 3DS
Yeah.
remakes.
Pokemon definitely, because it's Pokemon and it can be seen as baby's first RPG, and that's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion.
And it's pretty easily accessible because you
Yeah.
got the first two gens on Virtual Console and 3DS, and you got Let's Go and Sword and Shield on Switch.
Exactly. Let's see. We already mentioned Nino Kuni. I'm gonna say. Let's see.
Persona 3. No, I'm just kidding.
If you're an older player, I'd actually do recommend Persona 3, 4, and 5, especially because the themes they have in that game surrounding identity and the sense of self, it can be very it can strike a very sensitive chord with the players.
Yeah. Especially teenagers.
Yeah,
who are-
and it might help them discover a world bigger than what they've previously imagined. So I'd recommend that. Already said Pokemon.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like simple JRPGs, but I already got like Ni no Kuni, Dragon Quest. I'm trying to I'm looking at my games now. I'm like, no, that's not
Yeah, you already mentioned Dragon Quest 11. That one's good. You also have Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, that would be that might be a little more advanced for younger kids.
Yeah, my advice for Octopath Traveler is stick with one character and then go ahead with that story route. Don't worry too much about the other characters
until after you're done with the first.
Yeah,
I still need to play that at some point. I did have the demo that I never really finished it. I needed to switch to Japanese voices because I hated how the hunter talked.
Ah, it's fine.
It was really annoying.
Fine. I'd also recommend Tales of Vesperia. I think I already said that.
Bravely Default 2. No, that's not out yet.
Yeah, Bravely Default would also be good.
I hope they port that to Switch. I really hope they port the other ones to Switch.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
That's all I can think of. I mean, I'm sure that like if you pull up list of JRPGs, but that would take forever.
If you're talking about the biggest JRPG, which would be Final Fantasy, I'd actually recommend starting with Final Fantasy 9. Because in terms of
I have it on Switch. I need to play
because in terms of art style, it's very pleasant and very.
Yes, that's why I love the art style in 9.
Yeah, it's very pleasant and it looks like a picture book come to life. And the story is pretty cohesive. And also very kid friendly, I'd say. I mean, the VV stuff can get a bit dark.
For the most part.
Yeah, so it's the one I'd recommend. The other entries are a bit hit or miss. You can.
Oh, I totally forgot one.
Which one?
And you mentioned Final Fantasy, and look, it works a little better if you're more into the series, but it can also work as a good introduction to the series, and then you can go back and understand who the characters are and all the references. But World of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because I forgot about it completely.
So did everybody else.
Aww.
Hey, they might be working on a sequel soon. No, I remembered it because I remember writing about that and saying that, and then friend of the show, Aiden Strahan, has been tweeting about it since she's been playing it.
Yeah, and she's in love with it, more or less.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for her to get to that one part. We'll talk about that later. But
sure. Yeah, I'm guessing.
That's all I got.
That's all I'd recommend.
We're kind of over time, so we'll maybe we'll do a special JRPG podcast edition thing.
Okay.
But for now, man, I forgot to plug we're now on Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Well, you just heard it at the end if you stayed this long. You already know it. It's in the description.
We're practically everywhere.
And remember to wash your hands, be kind to others, and yeah.
We'll see you next time.